Thanks very much, Jeremy, and I'm very happy to give a brief example on how the USM has helped inform changes to our staff and student interactions in the College of Arts and Humanities. So very briefly, as a background, we had the CESA implementation. The College of Arts, Humanities and Social Sciences was separated into two different entities, and that meant also physical changes to our office, as well as an introduction to new programs and new pathways. Physical changes really were a major remodeling of, if you know it, the ground floor Newman Building program office space, counter-based, to a far more collaborative interaction space for staff and students. And that's where USM came in, and I'll talk a little bit about that. Of course, that also meant major changes for staff in the existing offices. So we had new colleagues, new job descriptions, new team structures, new hierarchy. All of that created a period of major uncertainty. I did want to mention our why statement. So as part of the USM rollout, we were brought together as a team to really talk about coming together, forming a new identity. And I think far more important than remembering our why statement, which not all of us might do, it really was the luxury of time and to be able to have all levels of staff in one room for a whole afternoon to share stories and to work on our design plan and our new identity. So that was very beneficial. I think that might be beneficial if ever one of your units have to go through a similar process as well. So the intention really for USM to come in and help us there was more than just new furniture and new equipment in a spanking new space. It was really about, hold on a second, how do we interact with our students? How can we make it easier so that we have one glance at email interaction, phone, and face-to-face? Is it possible to integrate that with Wufoo, Unishare, and Banner? And can we improve service delivery to our student experience? That was our ultimate goal. Rather than reinventing the wheel, we knew that students were already familiar with the similar system and setup from the student desk. So our idea was to really try and remodel so that students wouldn't be faced by something completely new. Now, initially, I would have to be very honest, there were a lot of concerns amongst all of us. I'll just quickly go through them. Who else uses it? Why do we have to do it? Why now? Is the laptop not going to be too heavy for us to walk around to meet students? What about security in such an open space? Unishare is far too slow. Space is too open for our often very delicate conversations with students. There are not enough UCD guidelines, not enough system integration. Isn't it duplication of work for no reason? The card reader categories are just not relevant to us. And isn't the data Unishare produces far more quantitative than giving a real picture of our interactions on a qualitative level? And there was a concern that the data of interactions, daily interactions, would be used as part of a performance appraisal. So during the implementation process, we tried to address all those concerns. So we had a very in-depth consultation period with USM throughout the whole design process, rather than it coming in at the end to fix problems. We also went to our colleagues in the student desk, because I think it's really important to see real end users using a system before you embark on integrating it. That was very helpful. Also, we decided, because of our service to students and some of those conversations being very delicate, as I said, we integrated private consultation areas as part of the design process. So there's flexibility, of course, depending on your areas and how you want and need to use it. We also, thanks to Jeremy's team, were given laptop screens and docking stations to trial. We did that before we moved into our new premises, which was very helpful because it made it far more real and tangible for us to envisage how we would be doing it downstairs in our new space. The card reader was set up with categories that were relevant to our office. So that was one of our concerns, but that certainly was dealt with very easily. There had been training all along, but I think far more important than training was coming to an internal agreement with the College Office Director and all levels in our office to say, how are we going to use the data generated through UniShare? Are we going to use it for every single interaction if that is already logged in another application system? We certainly wouldn't be looking at it to see how busy one colleague performed against another. So these are real conversations that need to take place at each individual level, I feel. Then, of course, we have been attending and will continue to attend USM workshops to really get the best of the system, whether it's report generation, data analysis, or any new developments on UniShare and on WUFU and all the other systems that belong to USM. Also, there have been technical enhancements to UniShare Speed, for example, expanded categories. More people are using it, which is very helpful. And having sharing enabled between the student desk, our office, as well as some schools, is really making the most rather than leaving it in our office as a singular isolated tool. So that's certainly something that we appreciate. So we trialed November, December, and it's been fully in action now since January. So by that, I mean our space is there, the card reader is installed, staff have been trained, and the WUFU integration as well as all the systems integration is taking place. So I want to give a thumbs up. What is the new reality? What has changed? So feedback, I'm not just saying that here as part of presentation, but the students have surprisingly adapted so well to the new space, the new system. We were worried about them not knowing where to go, how to scan their cards, would they not feel lost? None of this materialized as a real concern. Staff, I would say even the most resistant of us, certainly welcome the card reader system. Now, it's such a change compared to our counter as it was. A student, for some of you who haven't seen it, student swipes their card, it brings up an alert on your computer, anyone who's signed up to the system. You can assign that student to you. Before you even go to the student, you have quick access to UniShare. You see who they dealt with before, what were they issued previously, is there anything I need to know about the student? You come out, you're pretty much fully aware with your laptop on what it is that the student may need, and you can log that interaction live, even with banner right in front of you. So it really has made quite a dramatic change to staff as well. So as I mentioned there, it is really one stop to track and deal with a student query far swifter. And so our ultimate goal, as I mentioned, was always to really make things more efficient for us and for students. And I think that really has come about. So there is more potential. So I've put my alien there. It's not PPE equipment, it's the future. So I just want to say, well, there are other things that we would like now that we've seen it in action. We would like to see continued UniShare development. There are things such as bulk upload of student data or WUFU integration, linking it to other InfoHub systems, for example, change of grade forms once they move online. Shelley, why not? Google Forms, all of this have a one-stop shop. We would like to see better GDPR and data privacy guidelines for sure. We as an office are thinking of also using the card reader as part of our appointment system. So when the office doors are closed to students in an afternoon, but somebody has an appointment, the student can use it almost like a doorbell to swipe their card and an alert comes up. We would also like to see an expanded use of the referral system of UniShare. We've seen how well this can work during off-campus times, and I just think it's certainly something we should use more. Of course, that means more people have to be brought on board, but it saves the student having to do the legwork, and instead the query goes with the system itself, where appropriate, of course. One might consider as well that eventually in future students may not have student cards, physical student cards anymore. So we want to put a thought out there to see if future developments can be integrated in that system. And ultimately, we would like to see a community of best practice, such as our gathering here today or the remote working group. I think it's the best way really to learn from each other, like we went to the student desk. And certainly when campus opens again, I'd be more than happy to bring you on a tour, if you like, and to show you how it happens in reality. But for now, if there are any questions, I'm very happy to take